Namo Buddhaya. Dear friends, tonight I want to talk to you about peace. This being the 4th of May, which in Holland is a commemoration of the people who passed away in the Holocaust and the war. It makes me think of how much war there is in our world at the moment. And at the same time, I am immensely grateful for people like Thich Nhat Hanh, Nelson Mandela, the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Etty Hillesum, and so many more that have dedicated their lives to peace. Maybe many of you have had this feeling as well. I've always had the deep pain, even as a child, when I felt and saw or read about the suffering of beings on this earth, and an immense feeling, and no, it's more a longing for peace, and a belief that peace can only be achieved by peace in your heart, by a peaceful means, that weapons are seldom the solution. They might be a temporary means to stop violence, but for true peace, I am quite certain that you can only have peace in your heart if you understand yourself, if you understand your own suffering, if you are willing to embrace your own suffering and hold it with a tender heart. And the same goes for your enemy. Only at the moment that I can see that my enemy, or the so-called enemy, is as vulnerable as I am, is as longing as I am for peace, and most of all for love. I think every being on this planet, the most basic thing we want is to feel loved. And some beings dwell off this path immensely and do the most distorted and heinous things, but they have all started out as vulnerable children that all they wanted is to be embraced and feel acknowledged and loved. And I believe that when I am able to see this in another person, the person who might have done me great harm, this is also the moment that I can feel peace. It might not change how the other person acts, but it can sure change how I feel. And I've encountered this in many books and talks of people who have gone through great suffering, who have survived wars, who have survived imprisonment, torture, any kind of violence. And the one thing that always speaks to me, and that again and again I find, is that the people who truly manage to keep shining their light and inspiring the world, are the people that can see through the darkness and can see that in the end there is only light, and that also the other person, the person who is violent, is actually even more caught, because they might have to go a longer distance to find back to their heart, to find back to the love. So tonight when I was silent to be with all the people who have suffered and who are suffering, I also want to pray for all the lost souls in any parts of the world who feel the need to punish others, to impose their ideas on others by violent means, and have them feel that they are loved, that all we need is love. And I'm so sorry for them to feel so lost, to be so lost in anger. It must be so sad. To hold your identity in violence and being right no matter what harm you inflict on another being is truly sad, and it's so far away from where you came from as a vulnerable baby and as a small child who loved to smell the flowers and was giggling when he was tickled and played with his playmates or her playmates. So my greatest wish is that we, the people who know that the way of love is, may always keep this faith and keep the light shining for those who are lost, and show them the way, not so much by preaching to them, but more by being kind. And this is not always easy, because I've talked about this with several people lately, that I feel that since our lockdowns from COVID is over, that at least here in Holland, people seem to have a shorter fuse. They seem to tend to get angry more easily, snide at each other more easily. And actually, I have to confess, I catch myself also. I also have the idea that I'm less patient, and that I'm, at least in thought, more likely lately to lose my patience when even passers-by on the street, and get more easily annoyed. We have, for example, a Moroccan bakery across the street, which is very popular, with a taxi, and they make really nice food, with a large community of taxi drivers, and they're mostly Moroccan. And there's also quite a big group every time when the weather gets nice of teenagers that tend to come with their scooters and hang around. And since we're just across the street and there's a broad space, a sidewalk to stand, so they tend to congregate there and smoke and hang out with their scooters, and leave their cups and things, basically litter around when they leave. So then I drive on with my tricycle and the dogs and try to park, but I can't because the scooters are there. And then and I feel myself getting annoyed, but then instead of just sniding at them, I just ask him, "Hey guys, whose scooter is this?" And I've had many conversations over the years with them, and actually they're really friendly, and they've helped me many times with things, and I find this, and this is only a small example of to keep smiling, even if people are not smiling back, or a much more harsh example is the men who raped me. I feel this is a long time ago, more than 40 years. I feel sorry for them. I feel really sorry for how, I feel sad. How can you go so far? How can you be so lost to find pleasure in paining another human being? And I find this, that even if I don't understand the people who inflicted pain on me or in my lifetime, I still try to connect with the vulnerable part in them, because I so believe and have experienced in the times I've been close to, I don't know, divine light, or that comes and visits me mostly when I'm like really sick, and also as a child. There's love is that is the energy that there is from the universe, and all the suffering we do ourselves. We get so lost as human beings in doubt and fears and planning and hoping and trying to cling on to things that are temporary, and that, yeah, that is also which speaks to me so much, that I can imagine so much that the Buddha, he saw this, and this is probably the same anguish that I've also been feeling many times in my life when I see all the mistakes we make as human beings, and make over and over and over again, and now with polluting our planet and not seeming to learn and not wanting to learn. It's like, I think on one side of the brain we probably like, yeah, we are polluting the planet, but oh no, I still need this, and I still need to buy a new this. And so there's also this duality in our doing and our thinking. And so I can so much sympathize with and imagine how the Buddha was so overwhelmed by what to do about this ever repeating misery of humans, and that he then just looked for the way to escape this suffering. And thank to the Buddha and the many beautiful beings that visited this earth, and again shown us way to see the light. I've overcome many hardships and keep having faith, and that is the only way. That is the way to be happy, the way to true happiness, and even in harsh situations. Lately I've been in the hospital again, and I had a very bad spell, and I felt surrounded there by lights, mostly from the people who cared for me, the medical staff, the nurses. Everyone was so amazing. And at one point I was very shocked, because it happened very suddenly, and I had to go to intensive care, and it was all very unexpected. So, but I felt like a layer was taken off me. So I felt sad and scared at one point because of everything that happened. But at the same time, I also felt so grateful to be here, to be on this planet, to be able to see people smile. Even when I say this now, I get goosebumps. And I wish that Putin, that this is only one name. That so many people in so many countries and inflict violence on other people. I wish with all my heart and all my being that they could feel this light and feel this, just let go and be carried by love. So, and I wish this also for any of you who are in a dark place, in a personal spot, whether you may be depressed or scared or have a bad situation at home or feel unworthy, any kind of pain or suffering you may have, I wish you can feel the love of the universe, feel carried, and know that this too will pass. This is, no matter how hard and how painful the temporary moment is, look to a tree, look at the sky, the blue sky, look at the birds. Look at pure things that inspire you and that connect you with the universal love that there is always and anywhere. If not deep in your heart, then it is in nature always. So I wish you a beautiful evening and thank you.